So thank you everyone for joining me, Juliette Bryant, this evening as we talk natural immunity for families. This is something I'm really passionate about because the more we can empower ourselves and our families, the better off we're going to be. And we live in such an incredible world where there's so many amazing remedies at our doorstep. So we're going to be talking about that tonight. A few new faces who I've not seen before. So I'm going to introduce myself very briefly because I know some of you do know me. As I said, my name is Juliette Bryant. I'm a nutritionist and a superfood alchemist, and I'm really passionate about the natural world and our place in it. I'm really passionate about bringing that awareness of the plants and the herbs that are all around us into our everyday life. So that's what we're really going to be looking at this evening. A few new people just joining. So as I said, please keep yourself muted and do type any questions in the chat box. At the end, we will have a chance for any questions live that come up, but do type them into the chat box. Wonderful. So I'm also the author of 3 books: Divine Desserts, Superfoods and How to Use Them, and Divine Detox, and soon to be my 4th book, which is called My Journey Through 7 Magical Mushrooms, and that will hopefully be out for Christmas, so I'll keep you posted on that one. So today we're going to be covering a little bit about mushrooms as well, because they're a massive part of this. But in today's world, maintaining our family's health is more important than ever. There's lots of solutions out there that modern medicine does offer for treating illness, but with the problems with antibiotic resistance, the problems of getting an appointment with your doctor, it's so important that we embrace supporting ourselves as much as we can. So when we look at building natural immunity, this isn't just about preventing sickness. What it's to do with is cultivating a lifestyle that supports long-term wellness for your entire family. So what we're going to look at tonight is some of the key natural remedies that are really supportive of your family's immunity. We're going to look at garlic, elderberries, cloves, rosemary, apples. An apple a day keeps the doctor away, sage, thyme, echinacea, lots of amazing things, medicinal mushrooms, and how we can work with those every day to help support our bodies. Now, when we look at the immune system, this is the body's natural defense against harmful invaders like bacteria, viruses, pathogens. And our immune system consists of various cells, tissues, and organs all working together to detect and neutralize threats. Now, whilst the body has its innate immunity, which we're born with, we also have an adaptive immunity which develops over time, and there are natural ways to support and enhance these functions. So when we look at natural immunity, this really focuses on diet, lifestyle, herbs, and fortifying our body's natural mechanisms. Now, when we look at the first kind of key steps of well, what's weakening our immune system? This is really what we need to look at first. What's going to weaken our immune system so that we can address that? Because then we can move forward much more clearly. So one of the things that has a huge impact on our immune system, and 70% of people approximately are riddled with them at any one time, are parasites. Now, parasites are organisms that live off of us, and they cause harm to us. Now, quite often these parasites are running at a very low level within our system, so we don't even notice that they're there. And this is the problem quite often, that it is this low level parasitic attack on our system. And what those parasites are doing is they're stealing the top off your food. So they're stealing off the nutrients. So when we become nutrient deficient, one of the first things that suffers is our immune system. The other thing that the parasites are doing is they're causing an immune response all the time, because the body is noticing that there is an invader in there. So the immune system is constantly looking for this invader. Where is it? Where is it? So it's on high alert. So instead of the immune system being able to work on those deeper cleanses and dealing with the viruses and the bacteria and things like that, it's busy trying to hunt out the parasites. So when we do a parasite cleanse, this is very, very effective. And parasite cleanses can be done for all the family. There's some brilliant natural things we can do. There's supplements you can take for this. One of the best things for parasites are cloves. So you know the little thing that you have at Christmas that you can stick in the oranges that smell nice? Cloves are incredible to kill parasite eggs. So a really, really good thing to start using in cooking, maybe make a nice herbal tea, and start using those cloves. And you can use them in small amounts on a regular basis so that you're always getting that into your system. And if you've got children, it's always getting into them on that gentle way to detoxify from parasites. If you've got animals, if you eat sushi ever, any of these things, then parasites are going to probably be in your system. You know, there are parasites everywhere. Kids get worms usually when they're little, but there's parasites that are running on a deeper level in our bodies that can be there without the signs of the itchy bottom or symptoms like that. You know, if you suffer from things like brain fog, bloating, this could be a sign of parasites. So I recommend everyone get on the parasite cleanse and do this gently. Bring in the cloves. If you're a grown up, then obviously you can do a deeper parasite cleanse. On my website, there's a great product called Paratrex, which is a brilliant parasite cleanse. It's wormwood, black walnut hull, clove, diatomaceous earth, and those are all amazing things at killing off parasites. So that's one, if you're a grown up, that's not safe for children because things like the wormwood are very strong on the liver. So if you also have a liver condition, then you should not take that. But the cloves are a very gentle way to do that. Now, I could talk all day on parasites, but I'm just giving you brief overviews of some of the things that are going to be affecting the immune system and some of the tools that we can bring in to work with those things. So we've got the parasites that we're looking at removing from our body. The other thing that's very important to look at is the gut. So obviously the parasites are linked to the gut, but the gut is the first line of defense for the body. So your gut starts here and it finishes on your bottom. And the gut is really everything in between. And what your gut is doing is your gut is really working as a protection for the organs in your body. So it's like a filtration system. So everything goes through your mouth. So everything that touches your lips, your body sends out messengers, sends out things to figure out, is this good? Is this bad? Do I need to eat this and digest it and absorb it? Or do I need to flush this through the system quickly because it's a toxin or a poison? So this is what the gut is doing. So it's having that response to the body to know whether something's an invader or it's beneficial. Now, with our immune system, one of the things that happens is if we're eating lots of foods that we're intolerant to, if we're overrun with fungus and bad bacteria in the gut, this again is going to be causing our immune system to be responding to those things as opposed to that deeper clean. So we want to be able to allow the body to get into the deep clean, so that we're not getting these deep viruses or pathogens or cancer cells growing. Everyone following so far? Amazing. As I said, do type any questions into the chat box that you have as we go. So supporting the gut is a really important way of supporting the immune system. They say that 70% of our immune system approximately resides in the gut. So this is really such an important thing to get on straight away, that we're making sure our gut is in a good position. Now, how do we do that? I hear you all saying, well, a few simple ways that we can really work to support our gut is one of them, garlic. Garlic is incredible for our gut, incredible at destroying bad bacteria, incredible at reducing fungal loads in your digestive system. And this incredible thing has over 39 different antibiotic strains that are natural. So this is a real powerhouse garlic to be working with. Now, with garlic, the way to activate this and make this the best medicine possible is you chop it up and then you leave it in the air for 10 minutes before you cook with it. Because what happens in those 10 minutes is the air activates the allicin, which is one of the strongest antibiotic properties within the garlic. So it activates this, and then when you cook with it, it doesn't get destroyed. If you chop it up and cook it straight away, you're not going to be activating that medicine. Now, there are other ways you can work with garlic. Of course, you can have raw garlic. You can make raw garlic into a nice pesto. You can put it into raw sauces. You can make a raw garlic honey. Let's see if you can have a little look at that. So this is a mixture of a local raw honey from an incredible beekeeper who's really conscientious of how he looks after his bees. This has got turmeric, ginger, garlic, and chili in it. And I blended it all together with the honey, and I've left it. And this will not go bad as long as the honey is covering all the ingredients. You take a teaspoon of this when you need, and it's like rocket fuel for the immune system, for the gut and for the immune system. So if you feel like you're coming down with something, a teaspoon of this, or if you want to prevent it. So for example, kids have all gone back to school recently, so there's lots of sniffles about, there's lots of coughs and colds, and the garlic honey is an amazing preventative. So with my kids, I started to give this to them before they go back to school so that they're ahead of the game with not getting any bugs, or if they do pick up any bugs, they're very short-lived in the system. Now, what I want to say is coughs and colds and getting ill isn't necessarily a bad thing, because what's happening is the body is actually detoxifying. But what is bad is we don't want it to go on and drag on. So having sniffles, having mucus coming out of your nose, or you're coughing stuff up, is actually a clearing. So you're detoxifying stuff that's maybe stagnant and sitting in your lungs, which we don't want. So we want to clear this stuff, but we don't want it to drag on, and we don't want to become very unwell with it. So little sniffles actually builds the immune system. They say with children that they're meant to get lots of colds when they're young, because this actually strengthens the immune system more. So we don't want to wrap them in cotton wool. We don't want to overprotect them, but we want to give them the strong defenses so that if they do get something, it's gone within a day or two, and they're upright as rain. Someone's just said, can you talk about the Paratrex and what's in it, please? Yeah, so it's got diatomaceous earth, black walnut hull, wormwood, and cloves, and it's pills that you take. You take 2 twice a day, and those ingredients all work to kill off parasites. So it's a 40-day course. It's very effective. I recommend, if you are doing a parasite cleanse, that you do 2 bottles of it, so that you're getting that kind of 80-90 day hit with it. What I like to do generally when I'm taking it is I start off slowly. So I do 1 twice a day for a week, and then I increase it from that point. So I let my body get used to it, because one of the things I feel that's really important with whatever we're doing is that we're gentle and we're kind to our bodies. We don't want to throw our bodies into huge, strong detoxes if we don't have to. Slow and gentle is a really beautiful way to do things, and regularly. So if you do these things gently on a regular basis, then you're going to really support your body to be in the best space possible. Okay, so getting the gut into good space, you can do your garlic honey. You can chop up the garlic and leave it for 10 minutes to activate the allicin, and then cook with it. Or you can get something like aged garlic extract. So this is aged black garlic. When garlic is aged, it takes the heat away. So some people find garlic quite strong on the digestive system, and so when it's aged, it's much more gentle. I love garlic pills. They're one of my go-to things. They're on my website as well. Taking garlic for me has been a lifesaver. When I was younger, I used to suffer from chronic asthma. I had bronchitis every few months. I had pneumonia 4 times. I had a collapsed lung when I was 3. So I really struggled. My respiratory system was my weak area. And so a large part of what I'm talking about has come from me really working and supporting my body to get a strong immune system. You know, this is a really important thing, that journey that I've been on. And as some of you know who've heard me speak before, where I come from with what I'm doing and what I'm sharing is from personal experience and working with lots and lots of hundreds and thousands of clients to help support their immune systems. So garlic for me, if I feel my throat starting to go, you know, you get that slight scratch in your throat, then the first thing I'll do is go for the garlic. Whether it's the garlic in the cooking or the garlic pills, it's probably both, because I like to then hit it with everything I've got so that my body has that instant, okay, I can get over this really quickly and it's not going to develop into anything. Someone just said, can you chop the ingredients and stir it into the honey? Totally. The main thing that you've got to do is, if you're working with the honey, is make sure that the ingredients is covered by the honey. Don't get processed honey. You want raw honey. You don't want the processed honey, because when it's been processed and pasteurized, then you're missing all the medicinal properties of that honey. And also you've had a lot of bees killed in the making of that honey. So that's not good. Find a local beekeeper who loves their bees, isn't going to smoke them, isn't using fungicides on them, and is following the natural beekeeping what's the word protocols for the honey, because also that honey is antimicrobial, it's antifungal, it's antibacterial, it's antiviral when it's in its raw form. So super important. Raw honey, chop the ingredients, make sure they're covered, stir it well, and it will start to crystallize. The honey extracts the medicine out of the garlic or whatever else you put in there. So it's like making a tincture, it's like making an apple cider vinegar extract. So it's working in a similar way. It's extracting the medicinal properties and allowing you to take it in a really easy and delicious way. Okay, so working on the gut, we've got the garlic, parasite cleanse, and I would also have a good probiotic, because that's really going to support the good bacteria, which is going to support your body's natural defenses. So my favorite probiotic is VSL3. You can get it on VSL's website. And that's a great probiotic. BioCult's another good one. Make sure you're getting a multi-strain probiotic. Simprove, another good one. Lots of great ones out there. There's some that aren't so good. If you're just getting an acidophilus, that's not going to be so good. You want one with lots of strains of bacteria, because this mirrors our gut more. Again, the gut is a huge topic in itself, so I'm just touching on these subjects so you can get an idea for what you need to look at when we're looking at really supporting our immune system. So other things that affect the immune system are environmental pollution, water pollution, all of these things, heavy metals, chemicals, all of this strains our immune system. So it puts that strain on us. So we want to be able to make sure that we're having filtered water where possible. We are using environmentally friendly, non-toxic cleaning products, because they have a detrimental effect on our immune system. When we're using things like bleach and we're around chlorine a lot, this has a huge effect, especially on our respiratory area. So we want to not have these things so much. I used to go, when I would go swimming when I was younger, I'd go into chlorine pools and I would always get a cough, because the chlorine was irritating my respiratory tract and also creating a reduction in my immune function. So just having these things balanced, you know, it's nice to go swimming in pools, but you don't want to go too much. And so it's creating balance in your life. And if you are going swimming, making sure you're having a nice shower afterwards to wash that chlorine off your body. The other area that's really important for our immune system that has a huge effect on it are the toxins in our foods. So if we're eating foods that are laden with toxins, pesticides, preservatives, artificial colours, artificial flavours, artificial sweeteners, all of these things over time are disrupting our endocrine system. And what that leads to is immune system imbalances. So when we look at things like artificial additives, what they do is they cause inflammation, and that inflammation is causing immune responses. So we want to bring our inflammation down. So we want to be eating as close to the earth as possible. We want to be eating whole foods, organic foods where possible, so that we're getting the most nutrients from those foods. Another key aspect to this is, find a local veg box. Find someone locally who grows veggies and get some of your food from them, because the most nutrients in a food is when it's freshly picked and eaten. Grow food where you can. Now, we don't all have space to grow food, but where you can, grow your own food. If you don't have a garden to grow your own food, or you don't have green fingers, maybe some pots of herbs on your windowsill, so that you're still getting that fresh energy of herbs. And some of my favorite herbs are sage, rosemary, thyme, and oregano. And these have massive impacts on our immune system, and we'll be getting to them shortly. So if we're reducing our exposure to toxins, whether it's through food or environment, if we're supporting our digestive system, if we're reducing parasites in our body, all of these are going to allow our immune system to work better without us having to bring in any other foods to support our immune system. So, when we look at stress or we look at a problem, it's like, well, how can we reduce the load on that problem before we go in and actually then tackle those symptoms? And that's one of the key things. Someone says, my hands, joints have been quite painful, inflamed today. I thought it was the damp weather. Totally can be the damp weather. The dampness does get into our joints and lead to inflammation. And that's where things like turmeric and ginger are beautiful. Cinnamon, another great one to be adding in as the weather changes, as we step into autumn and we have more dampness in this country, bringing in those warming foods. Chili is another great one. It's going to create that warmth and that heat in your body that we're not getting from the sun, from those external sources. So they're all amazing things. So we reduce the inflammation in our body. We're supporting our immune system to work at that higher level. The other thing that has a massive effect on our immune system is stress. Chronic stress is probably one of the biggest impactors to the immune system after gut health. So obviously some stresses aren't going to go over, the way we live in a world where we are in a high adrenal cortisol fueled world where we're on the go all the time. We've got devices that can send us messages. So we're constantly thinking. We don't have that downtime so much. So some really simple things to reduce stress. Get out, put your feet on the earth, barefoot, and ground your body. Get out into nature, go walking in the woods. Most people find that when they're in nature and they have that natural connection, this reduces their stress. Great, simple thing to do. Have a bath and put Dead Sea salts or Epsom salts in the bath. That magnesium is going to help reduce your stress levels, but also magnesium is a key nutrient that we need to support our immune system. So not only are you reducing the stress by laying in a lovely bath, but you're also supporting your nutrition and your stress in the body by having that magnesium in there, and it helps you get a deeper sleep. And sleep is another key factor to our immune system. Good restful sleep is so important for immune function. It's during sleep that the body repairs and regenerates its cells, including the immune cells. So poor sleep can really weaken the immune system. So the more we can create a healthy, regular sleep schedule, turning our phones off so we're not being disrupted by the pulsing. These phones send out a signal every 3 seconds, I think it is. It's going like this, boop, boop, boop. And what that does is it interferes with our body's natural resting cycles, because we're feeling that jolt. Even if we're not consciously aware of it, we're feeling it on a deeper level. And it's been shown scientifically to affect the body. So turning your phone onto airplane mode, keeping it out the room if you can, is a really important thing to help with your immune functions. Okay, so that's some of the things that are affecting the immune system. Now, what can we do? Well, I've obviously given you some solutions to those things, but we're going to look at other things that we can start to incorporate into our everyday life to really benefit our health and our well-being. So what natural remedies can we bring in? Well, first of all, this amazing thing here, rosemary. Most people know what rosemary is. It's got an incredible smell to it. Most people use it in their cooking with things like potatoes. Now, rosemary, I mean, I could talk all day about rosemary, but I'm just going to give you a few points. Highly anti-inflammatory. So rosemary reduces inflammation in the body, and it also supports our immune response. So it's very good to support the immune system. Rosemary has natural antimicrobial properties, so it's very effective at fighting off infections caused by bacteria, viruses, and fungi. So you're hitting quite a lot of things when you're working with rosemary. Now, how can you use rosemary so it's medicinal? Making a tea is one of the simplest things that we can do with so many of the immune supportive things. Make a tea, stick a sprig of rosemary into hot water, leave it to steep, and you've got a delicious tea. You could add some of your garlic, turmeric, ginger, honey to it if you wanted. You could add some sage, which we're going to talk about in a minute, or just have the rosemary by itself. You can put it into soups and stews, adds an amazing layer of flavor, but you're also getting the volatile oils of the rosemary coming into that food. So very, very effective at supporting you. You can make amazing salad dressings. One of the things I love to do is get a bottle of olive oil and stick it with rosemary, thyme, sage, chilies, and leave that to infuse. And you've got something so beautiful to pour over salads, to pour over roasted potatoes, whatever you're doing. You've got delicious flavor, but you've also got that medicinal property. Now, Hippocrates, who was the father of modern medicine, and doctors still take the Hippocratic oath, said, "Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food." And what he was meaning by that is, let's turn our meals, what we're eating, into our medicine. Instead of having to take medicine as a separate thing, let's incorporate it into our lifestyle. He also went on to say in the Hippocratic Oath, "Let all treatment first be dietetic." So what does that mean? Well, that means that what he was saying was that all treatment should first be approached through diet. Powerful, I think, really, when we think about that, when we think about the benefits of that, and how that can really support us if our food that we were eating was our medicine. So making a tea every day that's got your rosemary, your sage, your thyme in it, and you drink that as a beautiful tea. You could put some apples in it, you could put elderberries in it, all things with cloves, so you're hitting the parasites. Then you're naturally supporting your body so it gets sick less often or not at all. Rosemary is also very good to help support cognitive function. So this is always good. We all want to have our brains working as much as they can. They say rosemary for remembrance, and it's to help us to remember. So when you're having your rosemary tea, you're also supporting your brain function. So those are a few ways that you can work with rosemary. Of course, you can buy a rosemary essential oil and work with it like that. I like to put sprigs of rosemary in my bath along with my Dead Sea salts. So I'm laying with lots of herbs floating around me in that lovely water with all the steam creating the vapors from the plants. So you're getting it clearing out your sinuses, your respiratory tract. And also rosemary is very good for muscle ache, relaxing your muscles. So works on many levels. Okay, sage. This is another great one here. Absolutely beautiful. Again, something that can be used in cooking, but is amazing to be used in tea. Oh, we just had some questions. Let me just see what they are. Yes, there's going to be a recording of this webinar, which I will send out if you signed up for it, which you obviously did. You'll be getting the recording so you can re-watch it and have it, because obviously there's a lot of information that might not all go in one go. Someone said, are these fresh herbs more effective fresh or dried? So dried are great. Fresh, you've got the stronger volatile oils, but obviously we can't have fresh herbs all year round because they're going to go off. Saying that, sage, my sage bush lasts all year round, so I generally don't dry sage. Oregano, thyme, I I use it fresh when I can, and then I'll dry it so that I can use it dried afterwards. I also have essential oils of things like thyme and rosemary, so I can use those when I don't have any of the dried herbs left. So ideally fresh, ideally ones you're growing, but if not, dried or the essential oils are great to use. So sage, long history of use for respiratory support and sore throats. It's also known as the opera singer tea because it kills bacteria in the throat area. So gargling with a cooled down sage tea, very, very effective at helping with a bad sore throat. I remember, I'm going to be 46 this year, and I remember when I was younger, when I was a child, if I had a sore throat, my mum would bring me sage tea, and I hated it as a child. And now I do the same thing to my children. So I'm glad my mother taught me those things. It is nice if you add honey; it tastes a lot nicer. But sage is high in antioxidants, high in flavonoids. It really protects the body from free radical damage. It reduces inflammation. As I said, it's very antibacterial. It's also antiviral. So it's very good at fighting off respiratory things. So using sage in a tea, in a lot of the ancient traditions, they created what's known as smudge sticks. So sticks like this made out of sage. And what they would do is they would burn that to energetically clear the space, but also what it was doing, it was cleaning the air of bacteria, viruses, and pathogens. So it was working on that deeper level. So very effective at cleaning the air and cleaning our bodies as well. How can you use it? As I said, herbal tea is a great way to use it. You can, again, put it in your olive oil. You can put it in your food, in your cooking. So again, very versatile to use. It's very strong in its flavor, so you don't need a lot of it to get its benefits coming through. As I said, if anyone's got any questions, please do type them in the chat. If you're not sure about anything that I'm saying, or you have any questions, just do type them into the chat and I will answer them as we go. Okay, the other one that's amazing is thyme. Now, thyme is really known as the respiratory protector. So it's a very small herb, but it's very powerful in its antimicrobial properties. So it's a great support for the immune system. Thyme contains something called thymol, and this is a strong antibacterial, antifungal compound that comes from thyme. So incredible for coughs, bronchitis, sore throats, because it helps to relax the respiratory tract and protect against infection. It's very good to help us clear mucus, so it's helping us to expel that mucus. So sometimes, you feel you've got something stuck there, and the thyme will help. It's an expectorant, so help clear that out of your system. Again, soups, stews, marinades, tea. You can do steam inhalations with it as well, breathing it in through hot water, through that steam into your airways to help clear everything. Other one that I absolutely love, and we've got a massive amount of it growing, and it's one of my favorites, is oregano. Oregano is again known for its antimicrobial properties. All of these have very similar things. So it's anti-inflammatory, it's rich in nutrients, incredible support for the immune system. So if we use these things every day, we're going to have this so much more effective ability at supporting the immune system. Someone said, what about juicing herbs? I'm hesitant because I feel I need to use a lot in a juice. So if you juiced herbs, you use a tiny bit because they're so potent. So if you were making like a fresh apple juice, and we're going to get to apples, absolutely incredible for the immune system, incredible for the respiratory tract, amazing for the digestive system, support for the liver, apples are incredible. So let's say you were making a fresh apple juice, you put a little tiny bit of rosemary in, you would only need this kind of amount, a few sprigs of it, and you're going to get a really strong flavor. Little small handful of thyme and oregano, same thing, because it's very potent medicine, so you don't need a lot of it in a juice. So you can definitely juice it, no problem. If you're using thyme, you know, a small handful of thyme is a really great thing to do. Okay, so when we're looking at how we can work with different herbs, whether it's rosemary, sage, thyme, oregano, herbal tea blends, herbal infused oils, like I've been talking about, olive oils for drizzling over salads, adding it into your cooking, using essential oils mixed with things to rub onto your respiratory tract. With essential oils, you should never use them neat because they can burn the skin. So you mix them with a carrier oil like sweet almond oil or coconut oil. Rosemary oil is one of the things that I often use on my throat, on my lymph glands, and I'll use it on the children's if they're coming down with, I feel like they're coming down with something. I'll get some coconut oil, a few drops of rosemary essential oil, and I'll just massage it in there, and instantly it's going straight into the area that it needs to, supporting the immune system and supporting the respiratory tract. Okay, we're going to talk mushrooms. One of my favorite subjects, as many of you know who have heard me talk before. I know there are a few new faces here who haven't heard me talk. Some people refer to me as the mushroom lady, and I am a huge fan of the healing benefits of medicinal mushrooms. This one here is a birch polypore. This here is turkey tail mushrooms. Now, these are mushrooms that are commonly found all around. They're non-psychoactive and they're bracket fungus. So that means they grow on trees. They're hard, woody mushrooms, and they're not edible. I can't eat that. It's not edible. And if I tried to eat it, I wouldn't be getting the nutrients out of it because it needs to be heat extracted and or alcohol extracted. So making a tincture, making a tea, putting it into a soup, a stew. If you are going to put it into a soup or stew, you need to take it out before you eat it because it's hard and woody. So it's not going to be the most pleasant experience eating it. But you can use it. I also, for convenience, have mushroom powder, mushroom pills, mushroom tincture, which have all been heat and alcohol extracted. So you can just add that into smoothie, add it into teas, add it into food, and you don't have to faff around with it or knowing what's what. But the mushrooms, why the mushrooms are so powerful, and we're talking about reishi, shiitake, maitake, turkey tails, birch polypore, chaga, all of these different mushrooms. They all contain beta glucans, and these beta glucans have been shown to A, destroy cancer cells, and B, to regulate the immune system. So what the mushrooms do is create this immune modulation. So they're really an amazing ally for building natural immunity. Reishi mushroom is also known as the mushroom of immortality. It reduces stress, it enhances sleep, it supports the immune system. It's so incredible, its effectiveness at helping us. So again, you know, some of my go-tos, if I feel I'm coming down with something, the garlic, the mushrooms, I use mushrooms every day, but if I feel like I'm getting sick, I'll take a few of my mushroom pills along with the garlic pills on top of what I do anyway, incorporating these things into my diet so that I'm having them and working with them on a regular basis. So the mushrooms, really, you're looking at soups, teas, supplements. It's the best way to really start incorporating the mushrooms in. Someone said, rather than buying essential oils, can we infuse fresh rosemary and almond oil? Yes, so you can put fresh rosemary into almond oil. What you'd need to do, or coconut oil, you need to grind it up a little bit so you're releasing some of those vapors into the almond oil. You can leave it to steep in the almond oil or the coconut oil if you're using coconut oil, like a fractionated one, or olive oil, and it will pull it out. It's not going to be as potent because if you think about an essential oil, then that essential oil is basically the plant. It's been, all the volatile oils have been collected out of the plant, so it's not diluted in any way, so you've got a very strong potent thing. But totally work with the plants, grind them up a bit so that you're releasing that active oil. And you can also, with rosemary, what I've done before, you know, is you can get rosemary and you can crush it up so that you're releasing the juices from it. And then you can massage that into your throat like so, so that you're activating that medicine. Okay. Everyone following so far? Brilliant. Great. Okay. So when we're looking at other things that are going to support the immune system, echinacea is another incredible one. I've got some echinacea plants growing outside, and it's the root of the echinacea that you would use. So you would harvest it in autumn time, and dry it, store it, and then use it to make teas or tinctures. Now, echinacea has long been used by the Native Americans, by tribes, herbalists all over the world for its effectiveness on cold, flus, and respiratory infections. That's its main thing. It really supports the body to fight infection. Many studies showing that echinacea can reduce the severity and durations of colds. And you can take it in the form of teas, tinctures, capsules, so you can really easily incorporate it into everyday life. Echinacea is in my Boost tincture, which is a great tincture, very easy to use, safe for all the family. A few drops into water, and that's going to be a really effective thing to support the immune system. As I said, garlic is incredible. We've already talked about garlic. Elderberries, that's what I want to talk to you guys about. Now, elderberries, there are still some out now, and this is one of our best medicines. This here is a beautiful, look at the color of that. I don't know if you can see it on the screen, the beauty of that color, the deep purple. Now that deep purple pigment is the anthocyanins in the elderberries, which are an amazing antioxidant that supports the treatment of, that supports the immune system, that supports the treatment of coughs and colds and flus. And again, many studies showing that elderberries reduce the severity of colds, coughs and flus. So when we look at the elderberries, you don't want to just eat them off the bush because they do contain cyanide in the pip. So this is not something that you want to be having. It will give you an upset stomach. It's not going to kill you in the doses you would eat, but it's going to upset your stomach. However, when you make a tea with it, when you make a syrup or you make a tincture, like I'm doing here, oh look, you can see the color when I shake it about. When you're making a tincture, any of those things, you're not having the pip in the center of the elderberry, so you're not going to get those negative effects. So elderberries are absolutely incredible, very high in vitamin C. Obviously, when you cook something that's high in vitamin C, you destroy that vitamin C. Vitamin C is a key nutrient for supporting our immune system. But if you're making something like a tincture, it's not going to be destroying the vitamin C in there. So a tincture, for those who don't know, is an alcohol extraction of a plant or herb or a mushroom. And what you do is you get a 40% alcohol and you extract the medicine. You put the plant in here with the alcohol, with the 40% alcohol, you leave it for 6 weeks. Then you strain off the material in here, so the elderberries in this case. I've also put in this, I've put cinnamon, cloves and cardamom in here, and blackberries. Blackberries again have that purple pigment, which is the anthocyanin, which is that amazing antioxidant for immune support. So in a few weeks, I've got a few weeks left on this, I will strain this off and then I will bottle this up and I will have a tincture which I can take in a pipette form. I can put that into a tea, and that's an amazing benefit. What was the question? Are organic shop brought mushrooms good for you? Yeah, so there's an amazing, like button mushrooms, chestnut mushrooms, all of these mushrooms have a lot of medicinal benefits to them. The button mushroom is very high. It's an amazing support for cholesterol, for heart health. So yes, organic mushrooms from the shop will still have a nutritional benefit to them. They're not going to have that same immune modulation property that the bracket fungus have, but still really effective. So elderberries, absolutely incredible. Still some out there. Go and harvest them. If you're not sure what to do, you can put them in the freezer and store them in the freezer, and then use them to make teas and things like that. Now, I touched on cloves earlier for parasites, but cloves are also anti-inflammatory, they're antiviral, they have high antioxidant properties, they're very good for supporting the immune system, but also the digestive things. And they're also incredible for pain. Has anyone here used clove oil on a bad tooth? absolutely amazing painkiller. Get a cotton bud, stick it on the tooth that's causing the problem, and the pain goes. But not only does it kill the pain, what it does that's so effective is it's killing the bacteria or the whatever it is that's infecting the area. So it's not just painkillers just are a suppressant, it's a bandage, isn't it? And this is what modern medicine so often does. It puts a plaster on the problem instead of going to the root of the problem. Whereas when you look at the traditional medicines, these Native American medicines, the Chinese medicine, the Ayurvedic medicine, these traditional systems of medicine, what they do is they look to the root of the problem, because that is the only way ultimately you will eradicate the problem. Whereas we're like, oh, you've got a sore here, just take a painkiller. But it's like, well, why is there a sore there? How can I get to the bottom of what's going on underneath it? So cloves, put them in teas. You can do a clove infused honey as well, clove oil, amazing painkiller, but actually the antiviral, antimicrobial, antibacterial. So apples. Hopefully I've not fried anyone's brains yet. Is everyone still following? Yeah? A few nods? Great. So when we look at apples are everywhere right now, and they are incredible. For me, one of the things that's so important is we look to our natural environment. What is the natural environment giving us? Because what it's giving us is our perfect medicine for what is coming for that time of the year. So right now we've got blackberries, we've got elderberries, we've got apples. Well, why do we have these foods growing? Because the body needs higher vitamin C, it needs higher nutrients, it needs this higher load of food, of nutrients to get us through the winter. Lovely apples, by the way, Sally. Very beautiful. And there's that saying, isn't there? An apple a day keeps the doctor away. And I was about to take a bite of this, and then I realized I wouldn't be able to carry on talking if I took a bite. So I'll save that for afterwards. But it's true, an apple a day can keep the doctor away because this food is so rich in vitamin C. Interesting fact, when you pick an apple off a tree freshly and you eat it, that apple has more probiotics in it than most probiotics you buy in the shops. Why? Because natural food, freshly picked and eaten, most of it is high in microbes, it's high in bacteria, good bacteria that's going to help our immune system by creating this stronger defense. One of the things I like to think about, and it's quite a good, I like pictures, they help me understand things more and explain them as well. Apples. Amazing anti-inflammatory, antihistamine properties. I can't remember what I was saying before I started choking, so sorry about that. Oh, high in vitamin C. All fresh foods have this huge bacterial goodness in them. That what happens is when foods are picked and then sprayed, which they so often are, or wrapped in plastic, then it reduces the ability of these bacteria. And this is what I was saying. If you have a field and that field has just one crop on it, it's got wheat, let's say, and that wheat crop gets hit by a bug, that's going to wipe out the whole crop. Now, you take a field that's got 1,000 different plants in it, and one of those plants is wheat. Now, if you get a bug that's going to wipe out wheat, well, it's fine because you've got 999 others. And this is the same for our gut. If we have just a few strands of bacteria because we're eating very limited diets, then what happens with that is we don't have that defense, that broad spectrum defense. Does that make sense to everyone? So it's having this broad spectrum of bacteria in our gut that's so important. And we get that from eating a whole host of different foods. Really, really important that we do that. Okay. So apples, amazing support. Um, Now out at the moment, we've got things like rose hips, we've got sloes. Sloes, you know, most people know about sloes through sloe gin. Quite a famous drink, sloe gin. Well, actually, what it is it's a tincture. We've bastardized it a little bit by adding lots of sugar to it to make it a very alcoholic thing. But actually, the sloes fermenting in that alcohol, what they're doing is they're creating a tincture. Sloes are high in vitamin C, they're high in antioxidants. It's a traditional remedy to help with sore throats, to help with respiratory conditions. So sloes have always been used in this way as this also to restore the body after illness. So sloes have got a really restorative property. So sloes were something that was drunk in a medicinal kind of function to help us through the winter, to keep our immune systems going. Rose hips, an amazing source of vitamin C, one of the richest sources of vitamin C we have on this planet. So as you can see, there's lots of things around us that are incredible to support us. Now with sloes, you're not going to really want to eat them raw because they're very tart, so they're not the nicest of things. So you'd want to make a jam or a chutney or a tea or a tincture, something like, or a sloe gin, something like that, to extract the medicine from the sloes. Or a sloe and apple tart, you might want to use some dates or some coconut sugar to sweeten it a little bit, because sloes do have that tartness to them. So that's kind of a brief nutshell on how we can really support our immune system. So hopefully that's been useful and informative to you all, giving you some ideas of what you can do to really support your body. One more thing I wanted to mention. Fire cider. Actually, two more things. Has anyone seen these before? These are sea buckthorn. So sea buckthorns are amazing berries. And inside these berries, let me see if I can do this without making a massive mess. I'm going to do this on my finger. If you pop one of these sloes, they've got this incredible orange. Can you see that amazing orange juice coming out of it? It's absolutely amazing. Oh, and they've got that really lovely ascorbic acid, vitamin C zing to them. Now, sea buckthorn, you can get sea buckthorn hedges, absolutely incredible for the immune system. You can make teas with them. I really like just eating them. I really like that, you know, kind of sour. It's like having, you know, a sherbet when you're a kid. If you ever had the sherbet sweets, it's like having those, or like sour jelly beans or something. But it's natural and it's amazing for you. So sea buckthorn is an absolutely beautiful thing. Now you'll find it mostly in coastal areas because of the name, sea buckthorn, but it can grow in other places. So you can grow sea buckthorn hedges if you're planting one up. Absolutely beautiful thing to have. Fire cider. Now fire cider is an incredible traditional recipe that's been used for a very, very long time. That's incredible for the immune system. Basically, it's apple cider vinegar, and you stick loads of ingredients into it, leave it to sit for 6 weeks, and have that every day. And what you put into it, and you can do variations of this: horseradish, ginger, turmeric. I like to put star anise in because that's got incredible. It contains shikimic acid, which is very good for the immune system. You can put garlic in it, ginger, turmeric, I said that, cinnamon, cloves, horseradish, apples, lemons, oranges, chilies. Leave it to infuse. I put rosemary and sage and all of those herbs. Basically everything we've been talking about. Chop it up, stick it in the apple cider vinegar, leave it for 6 weeks, and then strain it off and have a shot of that every day. And that's an amazing immune support. One last thing I want to say before I open up to questions. One of the things that is very, very effective at supporting our immune system is vitamin D. Now, in this country, in the UK, we do not get enough vitamin D between October and March. There isn't enough sunlight. So our vitamin D levels will drop, and vitamin D is essential for immune function. So I highly recommend that people get onto the vitamin D. One of the things that's really useful for people to have is the all you need superfoods. This has got medicinal mushrooms, super greens, vitamin C, plant protein, digestive enzymes, B12, magnesium, literally everything you need, and none of it's synthetic. So it all comes from its natural sources. So the vitamin C comes from camu camu, rose hips, acerola cherry, sea buckthorn. So it's got some beautiful things in there. It's very easy to use and safe for all the family to have. So that's one of the things that you could add in to really boost the immune system. But you want to be looking at supplementing vitamin D through the winter to keep your immune system supported. So I hope you've enjoyed this. And I'm going to open it up to questions. So if anyone wants to unmute themselves and ask a question, then please feel free to.